It's time for Donkey of the Day.
So if you ever feel I need to be a donkey, man, hit me with the heat.
Did she get Donkey today? Please tell me.
Absolutely.
I have become Donkey of the Day.
The Breakfast Club, bitches.
You're a donkey.
Yes, Donkey of the Day for Thursday, September 28th goes to a British Airways pilot named Mack Beaton. Now, I think I've told y'all how I feel about pilots. When I fly long flights, especially overseas, I always give pilots gift cards. Drop on the clues bombs for all the pilots out there. Okay? Give them a little gift card, man. Starbucks, little Dunkin' Donuts gift card. Why? Because none of us selfish humans ever think about who's actually getting us to these destinations safely. We just get on the plane and pray and then clap when we land, as if it's not 2 to 3 humans in that cockpit ensuring we get to where we need to be safely. So I personally never know what kind of day that pilot is having, who that pilot is. I like to show them love and look them in the eyes and, thank them for what they're about to do. And I write a little note to them, let them know they're loved and valued and appreciated. Try it sometime.
You write a note now, all that too?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, pilots are people who are performing a public service for us that we don't appreciate, and we should, because if you got a pilot who's having a bad day, whose mental health may not be where it needs to be, who's emotionally unstable in any way, look out below.
That's facts.
Literally. So this is why I have no problems giving pilots a small token of appreciation, like a gift card, just to keep their spirits up. Now, Mack Beaton doesn't want my gift cards to keep his spirits up. Nah. He's like, keep the caffeine and sugar that comes from Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. He's staying up with good old-fashioned cocaine. Oh, he gets high as the friendly skies. The thing is, I don't want you getting high and then proceeding to try to fly. Let's go to TMZ for the report, please.
So this pilot for British Airways was in Johannesburg, and he had a text exchange with one of his coworkers who was a flight attendant.
About a wild layover, in every sense of the word.
So he went out to a bar and was drinking, and he met a Welsh girl and a Spanish girl.
And they decide to take the party private.
They're all hooking up in the room. The locals bring out cocaine at one point.
The girls are dancing topless. I've lost my shirt somewhere. And then there's a debate about whose chest is the best to do a bump off. But the biggest problem?
He was flying within 24 hours of that.
Yep, this moron actually thought he was gonna fly a plane the next day.
They are not supposed to have anything to drink within 24 hours.
Which is why the flight attendant he was texting turned him in.
He's about to board the plane, and they basically take him. He got drug tested, failed the drug test.
No kidding.
Fired from his job, and it turns out he has a wife. Oh.
I'm sorry, Lauren. I didn't mean to trigger you.
No. It actually made me smile because Devin, that was Devin.
Okay.
Devin Rao from TMZ. He's like, we used to sit behind each other. He's like my bro.
Lauren
He's
used
so
to be
supportive of me.
Lauren was the senior news producer at TMZ.
Devin's the senior news producer as well too. He's so supportive. He's texting me and let me know how amazing I'm doing here. So shout out to Devin.
Shout out to Devin. But Mack Beaton was in Johannesburg sniffing booger sugar off breasts. All right. Remember earlier when we was discussing body counts and I was saying how men can't help but discuss their sexual conquest? Thank God for the chatty pattiness in this situation, because if it wasn't for Mack Beaton admitting to a stewardess friend that he had this drug and drink orgy, he might have been in that cockpit. Okay, she told on him, and that's what prevented him from being able to fly. I have so many questions, like what's longer, the line of cocaine he was sniffing or TSA at the airport on any given Sunday? Remember the movie How High when this was said? Remember?
If I study high, take the test high, get high scores.
That was Mack Beaton's mentality when he took his aviation test. I figure if I study high, take the test high, while I'm flying high, I'll get high scores. Listen, man, I tell y'all on this radio all the time, only thing keeping us safe and alive majority of the time is the behavior of other people. Do you realize how often we put our livelihood in the hands of others? This is why public servants deserve so much respect. I'm talking about something as simple as ordering a cup of coffee, ordering some tea, some food. Folks could easily put poison in your stuff if they wanted to. Uber drivers could drive off bridges if they wanted to. Pilots can sniff cocaine off breasts and then fly if they wanted to, if they didn't get caught like Mike. And someone prevented Mike from doing it, okay? They could be up there high off cocaine, imagining that clouds are mounds and mounds of that white girl they in love with. This is why we must thank people for their service, because public service is proof that people really aren't as bad as Florida and the Bronx make us think people are, okay? Because the reality is if they were, we would all be dead. Tell a pilot thank you for your service today. Tell a pilot thank you for not sniffing cocaine off a stripper's breast last night and getting us here safely. Tell people who are public servants thank you for providing your time and talents. Mike Beaton, listen, this ain't a movie, dog. You are not Denzel in Flight. I know Flight was based off a true story, too. Captain Whitaker was his name, but you can't be under the influence of a substance and decide to fly. And if you did feel you were Denzel in Flight, Captain Whitaker, then maybe the cocaine and drinks made you pass out before you saw the whole movie, because at the end of the movie, and in real life, Captain Whitaker went to prison, 16 months. And if you're in prison for 16 months, you might still get your hands on cocaine, but that cocaine is gonna come out of somebody's ass. Okay, being in the cockpit takes on a whole new meaning in prison. So does the Mile High Club. In prison, Mile is an inmate's name. You're probably gonna have to get high to deal with that turbulence.
Jesus.
The moral of the story is, Mike, what you was attempting to do was selfish. You don't deserve to be a pilot, because when you're a pilot, you have to think of people other than yourself. You have to think of this whole plane you flying. Clearly, you're not capable of doing that, so turn in your wings. Please give Mike Beaton the sweet sounds of the Hamiltons.
You are the donkey of the day. You are the donkey of the day. Yeehaw.
I wonder why she snitched on him though.
Why
Because
wouldn't
she got to fly with him.
What's wrong with you?
But what she should have did, because that's her coworker, that's her friend, right? Because if you text somebody, I'm sniffing coke off a booby, that's got to be that's your friend.
Yeah.
And what she should have did, I feel like, is like, look, you can't fly like this. You take the day off, or I'm gonna tell. Give him the option, and then I'm sure he would have took the day off.
No, when you mid-trip like that, like when I used to fly with Delta, right? If you mid-trip and you call out mid-trip, it could potentially cause a whole lot of logistics, because now they got to fly a pilot and they got to figure out the time.
But I'd
left on
rather
the
that
trip.
than
They had to cancel this flight.
Yeah, like it causes a whole lot of things, so that's probably why he wasn't trying to do it. And then they want to know, well, why? Like, what's going on?
Because he could have said, I'm sick, I have diarrhea, I think I have COVID. There could have been so many different ways to make an excuse.
I will say that there is a certain code though amongst, like, I wasn't friends with any of the pilots, but amongst the flight attendants, there was a certain code of like, we take care of each other. I've never flown with anybody that was under the influence of anything, but I do know stuff go down.
You have to tell on this person for the reason I just stated, because what he did was selfish, and it probably wasn't the first time. It's probably the first time he got caught. So even if you don't tell on him to the people, and he just decided to make up some excuse as to why he couldn't show up, that don't mean he wouldn't do this again at another time. And what if he does this again at another time and the plane crashes or something? Now you as the stewardess gonna feel bad because you could have stopped him, just like Spider-Man could have stopped that guy before he went to kill Uncle Ben.
Spider-Man's fake, but
everything with you reverts to like
superheroes and cartoons. He has Wolverine tattooed on his arm. But
why judge the inner child in me?
You're right. but it gets to the point, if that's your friend, right, and you know they're gonna get fired, so why wouldn't you say, hey, I'm not going to let you fly this plane. You make an excuse, and you got to get yourself right. Because that's your friend.
He actually doesn't need to be a pilot at all if he's making these kind of choices.
It might have been just one bad choice. This might have been the one time he did it.
No, it becomes just work to you. Like the same way this is just work to y'all and other people. Like, oh my God, it literally becomes just work to you.
But you get your friend fired, like axed, and then he has to go home, and now he got to deal with his wife.
You would definitely.
And now he's gonna get a divorce from his wife because he just sniffed some bump off of a random woman's breasts.
You deserve to get a divorce if you doing all that.
But your friend shouldn't tell on you.
Your layover, and honestly, it couldn't have been a long layover. It was a short one because he had to be back on the plane before 24 hours. So that means you going back home to your family in less than 48 hours. The divorce is his.
I reserve the right to get a friend fired.
You're up here with one of your besties, right? Who was not paying attention this morning and could have got robbed, and I seen him, but we're not going to talk about that. But let's say you did some F-ish, right? Now, instead of telling you, and she told on you, and you got fired from whatever job you had, isn't that foul?
It's different if
it's the same thing.
A plane.
So funny. Her friend pointed, and she was like, I got my fire.
I got the fire point.
She tapped it. She was like, I'm a
All right, you know what? Let's open up the phone lines. 800-585-1051. What's the question we're asking? Should the lady have told on him and turned him in, or should she have tried to handle it on the side instead of getting that man fired and getting that man divorced?
I hate when you ask what's the question we're asking, but then ask the question. You say, I hate the question you're asking, and then tell the question.
It's a part of his like lineup, bro.
It's silly.
Okay, Kim Kardashian and Courtney.
Just
like,
say the question.
Allow him to have his moment.
I'm Kim.
He's giving Kim right
now.
I'm
Kim.
No, he's
I'm Kim.
on your moment.
I'm Kim.
Okay, Kim.
I'm glad you know I'm Kim.
No, he is not Kim.
Thank you very much.
Kim.
Work I've been doing.
No, his ass don't say Kim. You know, I got Kim's ass.
Oh, let me see. Okay, All right.
Not out of Kim's ass.
No, all right. We gotta go. We gotta move on. This is
BT, we'll see you later.
We can do the challenge.
That was on TV. Y'all did that on TV.
Okay,
Wow.
what challenge you want to
That
do?
little bench press challenge they were doing. People was laying on
We
their
can do that.
stomach.
Yeah, we can do that.
I know it. I know it's gonna stop.
I know it's stop on my glutes.
Let's do it. All right. You ain't gotta. You ain't saying nothing but a word. All right. You ain't
How do
saying
y'all
nothing but
wives
a
put up
word.
with y'all? I cannot.
That's the good question. It's the
I
Breakfast Club. Good morning.
cannot.
Donkey of the Day is brought to you by the law office of Michael S. Lamonsoff. Don't be a donkey. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say the bull if you've been hurt in a construction accident. That's pound 250 from your cell and say the bull.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.